So I plan to start this video back on the real camera, but I can't find for the life of me where I put it. I'm hoping it's still on the boat. So I'm back. The trip is over and I am very relieved. I still have to get the boat out of the water. So what I am doing today is, if you recall, I bought these boat stands like almost a year ago now. A friend of mine who just finished her own refit. So I've rented a trailer. I've got to put these on the trailer, plus the blocks and chains, which my daughter moved, but that's okay. I think I know where they are. And go down to the marina and talk to them about getting hauled out. I forgot the other phone and I forgot to record before I left. But I mean, pretty straightforward. They're strapped in. I'm already back at the marina. So today is haul out day. It's been 9 days since I think I got back. There's not a whole lot to do really. I took the old bilge pad out, cleaned up some of the oil I thought was a leak. I'm not so sure it's a leak anymore. I don't know if you can see here. I've tried to wipe that up enough, so after I run to get hauled out, I'm going to check that to see if I see any fresh oil. It's currently about 1:15. I'm supposed to get hauled out at 2. I just went through and made sure I've got the key, turned the battery back on, unplugged the shore power, the usual stuff, so that when they say ready, I can jump and go pretty quickly. Oh, I'll show. The damage from grounding is not that bad. You can see I scraped a little here. You see a little bit of fiberglass here, but nothing too terribly serious. A little bit of gel knocked out here. This seems to have taken the brunt of it. A little bit by the drain for the anchor locker, and a little bit above it. Oh, yeah. Nothing that can't be fixed. And the times I grounded, actually you're going to see better than I can. This dent was here when I bought the boat. The work began. Bittersweet. Looking forward to getting started. Well, she's in her new home. I mean, you can kind of say she's near water, but not really. I have a lot of work to do. Let's get started. So, to be able to put this away, I need to take my spreaders off now. Well, they're very kind here, and they're like, you know, if you can't get it done today, that's fine, but if not, I'm gonna have to come back this weekend. But I need to put that in the garbage somehow. So I'm going to try to get these cotter pins off. This tape is in bad shape. There we go. Okay, so I need to try to knock these out, but with only one hand and no camera mount, I'm just going to have to do it and show you the results. This had been held in with seizing wire. So the type of stainless, really strong, thin wire was going through these two holes and wrapping around this, locking this into place. So I had to cut that off, and then that just fell out. Now for here, I had to knock these cotter pins out. There's one on either side. And now I can just pull these out. And I haven't tried doing this yet, but there we go. One spreader. I need to do the same thing to this one. And then these ones, the pins they seem to be seized in, so I'm gonna have to go get something I can hit with a hammer, like a pin, to drive them through. And then they should come off as well. There you go. The spreaders are off. Put the pins back in so that they wouldn't get lost on both sides. And you can actually see now better, if I can put them side by side, how this one was chewed up. So I'm gonna have to find somebody who can do aluminum repair to fix that. Right, now I gotta go get the lower spreaders off. So I got the lower spreader off, but this cotter pin is absolutely seized into the aluminum. It's stainless steel into aluminum. I'm going to try starting to soak this in PB Blaster. And another trick I heard was, if you soak it with PB Blaster and it doesn't start to come loose, try heating the metal, because the aluminum, or the aluminum, whatever you want to call it, and the stainless steel expand and contract at different temperatures, and that can help break the, I mean, it's almost like a cold weld. Like there is absolutely no movement. They're acting like one piece of metal right now. So when I go to tie this up, well, yeah, that's just going to be sticking up in the air, but I'll try to put them straight up in line with the radar dome. But at least it's off now. Now I got to do the other side. All right, it's starting to rain, which doesn't bother me, but it might bother my phone, which I'm currently using as a camera. So let me show you quickly what I did. So I completely pulled all of the old lines I had on it from when I unstepped the mast, which was done in something of a hurry. And then led all of the lines aft, starting from the masthead. And you can see it's much cleaner now, which is good because it's going up on that stand tomorrow. This has been damaged, but I'm not too terribly concerned about that because it was not really working reliably beforehand anyway. So, see the... Oh, one of the cotter pins fell out. Thank you for reminding me. I need to put that back in. Where was it? Where was it? I saw you earlier. I should have picked it up. I said to myself, well, I'll just leave it there, and then I'll know where it is. Now I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Ooh, there we go. So where is it? That one's got two. That's the one that's missing one. So I'll put that on after I turn off the camera. But you can see how everything's tied up much tighter now. So the mast is going on the stand until I'm ready to work on it. I don't need this. Okay, don't knock the ladder down because you're going to need that to get off the boat. That was slightly violent. Oh well. I don't plan to use this again. I do want to take that little stand off though. Hello again. It has been in real time about a month since I was last on the boat. After I got the mast all cleaned up, I had real life stuff that was backed up from the trip I had to deal with. And yeah, I just needed to take a break. So this is the first time I've been back on the boat, like I said, in about a month, and I'm really curious about a few things. I have not been plugged in, so I've been running on the batteries alone all of this time. There's been some heavy rain. I'm not entirely sure if there's been any leaks. I don't expect there has been, unless some of the tape let go. But in any case, I'm fingers crossed nothing went bad while I was gone. But I figured I'd say hi here, and then we can go in and find out together. No funny smells. Oh, you can't see anything. I have to stay down like this so you can see me. There's no smutty fells. There's no funny smells, so I think we're okay. Let's go in, get the hatches open, and start bringing some stuff in. I'm probably going to spend the night on the boat tonight. I mean, I'm up on the hard stand, so it's not as comfortable as usual. But I need to get back onto this. If I want to get the boat back in the water next summer, I have a lot of work to do between now and then. So one of my biggest concerns is that I haven't emptied the head yet. So I was worried if the batteries had run out that it would smell bad in here. Honestly, it smells perfectly fine. So I'm assuming the fan is still running. I mean, everything looks exactly as I left it. So I think we're fine. It's going to be raining here tonight, so let's get the hatches open and get some fresh air in here quickly. Let's go see what the batteries are saying. Now, a lot of the current that's been drawn from the batteries is really low. Oh, please no wasps in here. So there might be some of the discharge that it might not have been able to read. Okay, 42%, if that's to be believed, after a full month. I'll take it. I'll take it. Considering the aux pump is on, which is the fan that's blowing for the head. Did I leave anything else on? I don't think so. Did I leave the bilge on? Yeah, the bilge is on. There shouldn't have been any water coming in, but if it was raining and anything leaked in, it would be here. Let's see how dry the bilge is. Kind of scummy, but not that bad, all things considered. One of the other things is I noticed, I don't know if you can see, there you go, that corner of the sole was obviously getting wet for a while, and I think I finally realized why. When I was packing up the boat, I noticed that the previous owner had put silicone in here. That's cracked and water's getting out. So that needs to be sorted, and that sole has to be fixed. The other thing I need to do is get the electricity set up. The only access to electricity I have is a standard 15 amp 120 volt circuit. It's a bit of a ways from here to where that is. So instead of buying a really expensive, really long extension cord, what I'm hoping to do is run my shore power cable as much of the distance as I can. Oh, hi, spider. And then I'll measure how short I am to the actual plug. And then I'll make an extension cord that goes 30 amp on one side to 15 amp on the other side. Before I do this though, well, I'm gonna start cabling this up because I already got it out, but before I actually plug it in, I'm gonna go into the Multiplus and set the max current draw to like 12 amps, something really low. The battery can charge up very slowly, it's totally fine. I might even set it to 10 amps for that reason, so I don't know how many outlets are on a given circuit here. So the two places I have to plug into, one is that box, where is it? That box right there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 posts away from the bow. And if you can see down there, there's some electrical outlets, which are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bow. So it's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other, which way I go. Seeing as the cord is coming off that side, I think I will loop it around this cleat and drop it down here and run it over to there. As you can see, there's no way that's going to reach, but I can measure out now what length of extension cord I need to get rest of the way. Yeah, that's just barely enough to reach the ground. One of the other jobs I'm hoping to do this trip is to start to get everything off the deck. The last time I was on the boat, it had been raining, so everything was wet, and I didn't want to put it away wet. They're calling for rain tonight. Right now, everything is bone dry, so I'm going to try to strip the top side before it starts raining, even before I do this, because I could do that in the rain if I have to. Oh, please tell me you're actually dry. Are you wet? Oh, balls. It curled over with the wind, I guess. I'll drape it and try to get the worst of it dry. So that was completely soaked. If you recall, I plugged up these scuppers because the through hull was leaking, even when it was closed, so we crunched it right up. But now that she's out of the water, I'd like those to start draining. So I'm going to pull the cork out of the other side and go below and open up the through hull to let that drain. Might as well take the fenders home as well. I'm obviously not going to be needing those for a while. The decks and everything are filthy. I got back from the trip and just kind of crashed. All right, let's get these lines done. Didn't give myself quite enough on this one, but let's see if we can make it work. Yeah, that's fine. I've got to get the mount off as well, but I didn't bring my tools for taking that off. So I'll do that on the next trip. Everything I get off the boat is one less thing to be in my way while I'm working on the boat. I don't really want to just drop this over the side, but it is very heavy, and I'm not sure if I really have an option. Actually, can I gracefully drop it over the side? That worked shockingly well. Okay, well, that's sorted. That didn't take long. Mud dauber hornets already started setting up shop. All of this line is in desperately bad shape. So I'm gonna take the stop knots out and completely undo this. I don't think this can be saved, but we'll take it home and we'll give it a wash and we'll see. With money getting tight, and tighter all the time, the economic downfalls, if I can get an extra year out of a line or two, then that's a year or two that I can put off spending that money. If I can get some of this stuff and say, okay, I know that before my trip's over, I'm gonna have to replace it, but it's good to start with, that'll be really useful. I'm bleeding from somewhere, but I don't know where. Whatever. This knot's probably been on for over 15 years. It is crunchy. Oh wow, look how green the line used to be. That was the original color of the line. And of course, any lines that can't be saved, I can at least use these to know the diameter and length I need to replace it with. So, all worth saving no matter what. One traveler. You can see I don't have a lot of time before the rain gets here. So if you notice, I'm not talking very much and just focusing. That is why I'm gonna have to refurbish all of these and see which ones are close to perishing and replace them. But it's gonna be the same deal. It's gonna be a game of, do I think I have a couple more seasons out of this? If so, replace it later. There we go. Main sheet now. I don't think I have a tool to get that off. Balls. Oh dear. This Harken gear is cracked. I'll show you what I mean. So a lot of these are gonna have to be replaced. You can see this one's fractured all around. The only thing holding it together now is this piece of metal. That's my main sheet. That's what pulls the boom in. That deals with a lot of pressure. So this is gonna have to be replaced. Shit. I need to knock this out, but I don't know if I've got the line to do that. Oh, balls. I'd like to keep all this together if I could. I'm gonna leave this for a minute and see if I can crack that. If I've got my, I don't know if I have my, oh, I have my channel locks. That'll knock that free. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Let's get the ones at the back done. Example of why you need to keep your bilge pump on even when you're on the hard. Obviously, something is letting water in. That's full to the brim. So I'm gonna have to clean out that scupper to drain it. It might be that the water was coming in through these vents. I should have taken them off when I first got here. I was just too tired. But that's one of the things for today to do. So I'm gonna need to drain that. That's probably why these lines are wet. Okay, well, so it goes. The old sail bag. I'm almost certainly not going to need that again because I'm probably getting new sails. And I'm probably going to switch to a lazy jack system. Speaking of frighteningly expensive things, I need to drain that. And for that, I need something I can jam in the hole. Ooh, it's hot in there. You can guess by the fact it's about to rain, the humidity right now is really high. You know, normally I would say a line like this is not worth saving, but there's one thing I've learned. Lines on a boat, surprisingly useful, even when you can't imagine at the time why they might be useful. Like a woodworker can't have enough clamps, I think a sailor can't have enough lines. Very shortly I'm going to go start loading up the car so I don't get caught with my pants down with it raining. I'm going to turn this off and go load the car, and then I'll ring you back. How's that for timing? I just finished loading the car and the rain started. I've decided to go home. I just go down below for 5 minutes and I'm just drenched in sweat, so it's too humid to stay here today. I tried to get this off, but I think that pin is bent or stretched or something because it's not coming out at all. And it's not seized, it'll rotate like half a turn. So that's gonna need some BF&I that I don't have in me right now. I got the vents off and covered back up. One of them broke while I was taking it out. Not surprised, they're what, 40 some years old. So I'm gonna have to expect to replace both of these. I'm gonna go measure how much length I need to get to the plug. I've got, my 100-foot meter, or my 100-foot thingy here. So I'm gonna have to put you down to get down the stairs. I will measure that, and then I will be back to tell you what the results were. Not raining too hard yet, so let me show you some of the damage from hitting the rocks. You can see the gel coat's through to the fiberglass along here, but this is all above the water line. Where it gets more of a concern is here. This is below the water line. It feels like it's the bottom paint and gel coat that's gone through. The fiberglass fibers don't seem actually broken. I don't see any frays. Maybe a little. That one's definitely not through the gel coat, so that's fine. This one is through the gel coat and into the fiberglass as well, a little bit here. So I think I'm going to have to break this back all along. I was talking to some friends who've done fiberglass work before, and it sounds like what I want to do is, this is probably a polyester resin. I don't know that for sure, but apparently if you scuff it up with like 36 grit paper, it'll have enough of a key that it'll bite, and epoxy will bite into polyester apparently. So I'm going to rebuild the whole front of the bow, thicker, stronger, better, faster, whatever that song is. And I may even make a little metal plate that goes all the way up here, that goes all the way down here, in case I hit rocks or sand or something again in the future, like a rub rail kind of idea, but out of steel. This is probably premature at this point, but I only have the one forestay for the jib. It would be nice to have a second one so I could have a storm jib already ready to go. And if I make a little bit of a bowsprit, I need something to come back and bolt to the front of the bow to hold the bowsprit down to counter the upward force from the sail. So if I'm doing work here, that might be a time to add that in the anchor locker. I'll have to talk to some people. I don't know how feasible that is, but it's an idea that's rolling around in my head. I wanted to stay here and get a lot more done, but the heat was just too much. So that's okay. I got a full car worth of stuff to take back to the house. That is that much less stuff that's going to be in the way in the boat. On my next trip, I'll get the sails and tables and a few more things and try to really clean up the interior. And on my next trip, I think I might actually take the teak boards out of the cockpit to refinish those, and the sole boards maybe, and then I could redo those back at my house and bring them back. We'll see. Not the same when she's not in the water, but it's still nice to be back, even if only just for a few hours. I really miss my boat. Oh, she has so much work ahead of her. Anyways, this is not the end of the episode. It would be far too short for that. I don't know what'll be the second part of the video. The exhaust. Oh, it's gonna come right off. That's fine. I'll get that all cleaned up. Who was it that had to dig a hole to drop their rudder? I may do the same thing to get my rudder down and check out the bearings. I'm gonna have to get the diesel tank out. Oh, I have so much to do. I have so much to do. I just got back to the boat. It's been about another week and a half, and I have good news and bad news. Bad news is batteries are dead. I can't even see the BMSs. So they've obviously gone into low voltage disconnect. I have to hope the cells aren't too low. The good news is the vent for the toilet stopped working, and I haven't dumped it yet, and it doesn't stink. So yay. Obviously this means getting power back up is my absolute priority, and because today at work was mad, I got here close to sunset. I have no power at all. The plan, if I can get this plastic off, I picked up a 50-foot 12-gauge extension cord. Obviously got the NEMA 515 connector on it for plugging into the regular outlet, and I need to cut the end off and put a 30 amp plug on it. So the first thing for that is I have to make sure it's the right size. I think this takes ferrules, and I've got 10 and 12 gauge ferrules, so I need to find those. Tonight I'm just gonna get this working. So I'm gonna cut about that much. That way I can always reuse then this end if I need to later. So first things before I do anything, let's go make sure this is the right size. I know you can't really see me right now. Yeah, that's better. Please be the right size, because now it is particularly desperate. Why is this not fitting? This spade bit is too big. 30 amp, 125 volt. This is 30 amp, 250 volt. When I asked the gentleman at the store, he said that there was absolutely no difference between them. I think he was wrong. I think the spade bits are different sizes. Desperate times and all that. I'm gonna see how that's flared out to make this one really wide? I need to cut a bit of that edge off. I shouldn't do that, but that or I cut away at this plastic. That might be the better way to do it. This is more valuable. Okay, well, I have to make this work. I have no power on the boat at all, and I'm sleeping here tonight. So this one is narrow, this one is big. This one's the right size, that's the right size, that's too small, which I'm assuming is how they keep the voltages apart. I should have bought the 125 volt. I thought, oh, 250, it'll be higher quality. Yeah. Family fair rules. I do not appear to have my wire strippers here. This trip is off to a fantastic start. Before I completely give up, nope, I don't have my wire strippers. Okay, well, so it goes. X, Y, G. So the angled bracket is ground, X and Y. I'm gonna guess X, being the larger one, I don't know if you can see that or not, is the hot. And no, this is not tinned copper. I thought about it, but the price was like 3 times as much. And this is not a long-term solution. Y is the neutral, I'm gonna guess. Okay. Now, I have to make that hole bigger. Let's go over to the plug and see if we can get this working. Is that correct? Almost certainly not. Will it get me power for tonight? Fingers crossed. Okay, because I'm losing the sun, I'm not going to take you up there. I'm going to run upstairs, run up to the boat, unplug it from the boat, go plug it in, and then I'll bring you up and we'll check the voltage up there. Oh, it's already unplugged. Okay, good. Let's go check the power. You didn't see me do it, but I turned off the inverter. That's unplugged. I'm sorry, I'm doing a really bad job filming right now. I'm rushing. Oh, and thank you to whoever told me. I think a few people told me that I could take those ends off to expose more of the probe. I did not know that. The L shape, and I think the L shape was the ground. There's 120 volts, and that should be nothing. That's nothing. That's 120 volts. That's 120 volts. Okay, so hot, neutral, ground. Before I do anything else, I need to go and pull apart the quarter berth so I can turn off the battery. So clearly the 42% that I saw when I was here a week and change ago, 10 days ago, was optimistic. Okay, that battery's off. That battery is off. Servo and everything's off, obviously. Let's go apply power. The main thing I'm worried about is that I might have got the polarity wrong. Anyways, that's off. All of the AC breakers are off. DC breakers are off. My glasses are falling off. Okay, let's apply power. Are you gonna wake up? Okay, that's not coming alive. Oh, because I have the main breaker off. I keep forgetting that. Oh, that big red light on my thing came on for the first time ever. I guess that means shore power is available? Or does that red light mean that I've got my wires turned backwards? That is not coming on. Why is this not coming on? I'm gonna have to crack this connection. I'm gonna have to take this off and see which color wires go where, and then follow that to the pin and follow it back to the extension cord I just made. Do I still have voltage here? I wonder if I tripped the breaker. I might have tripped the breaker. Yeah, I tripped the breaker. There's no voltage here anymore. Hot is the top, neutral is starboard, ground is the bottom. So the wider one is hot. Ground, hot, neutral. So I bet you the smaller of the two I currently have backwards. Let's go find out. And before anyone fillets me for using this extension cord, I'm going to go into the Multiplus and set the maximum current draw from shore power to 12 amps. At 15 amps, the voltage drop on this is less than 2%, or like 2.2% or something like that. First, ground to ground. Oh, it doesn't beep on continuity. Annoying. Okay, but that's fine. Okay, so the grounds are right. The question is the hot right? So that's hot there, and that's hot there. 0.7 kilo ohms. That seems like it's got a connection. 0 ohm. Fuck, I got them backwards. Okay, so you can see, conveniently, they show the wire colors through the clear plastic. So that's light gray, which should be white, which should be neutral, going to, so see it's saying, can you see that? I hope you can see that. It says mega ohm. If I touch that to the hot, nothing. If I touch it to the neutral, it's because the neutral, yeah, I'm showing 0.7 kilo ohm. Which tells me that red light I saw in there is probably a fault light, which would explain why I've never seen it lit up before. I know this is not waterproof. Once I've got this working, I'll impromptu waterproof it somehow. Okay, let's see now. Ground, ground, neutral, neutral, nothing on the hot, hot, hot. Okay, now I know it's sorted.
Hey,
How's it going?
do you have any electrical you can plug it from here? Or?
That's what I'm trying to sort out. Oh, futz. Tabernacle.
This is a landfall.
Landfall 38.
Look at you for a CS guy. He knows pretty well his.
I didn't recognize it because of the rub rail.
The rub rail.
Yeah.
It sticks out quite a bit. It looks almost aftermarket, eh?
Yeah, it does a bit.
I have no idea whether it actually is or not.
It's a landfall 38, isn't it?
It is indeed. You're welcome to come on up if you'd like. A couple people I've been talking to, met them for the first time. They're helping me out. Okay, breakers are off. So they're gonna plug it in for me and then hopefully I get power. It's plugged in? All right. Okay, the main breaker's on. I got power. I have an alarm. Probably a low voltage alarm. All right, I need to go down below and see. It could be because the batteries are completely disconnected. I'm not really going to be able to bring you with me, I don't think. No, I'll just put you here, so if I make any loud noises, you'll hear me. Oh, stuff's waking up. I have 110. I've got to set my current limiter before I turn on the battery or I'll pop the breaker. With these folks here, I'm going to be pretty quick, I think. All right, I'm going to put you right here. Multiplus compact, absorption. I want to put the advanced, redetect system, system reset. I need to remember where to put the input current limit. State of charge, active AC input. There it is, input current limit. Oh, why is that not saving? It keeps resetting to 27. I'm gonna have to break out the other cable. General, AC input current limit, set that to 12. Okay, there it set it and it seems to be fine. Okay, let's turn on the battery. And I heard the BMS boot. All right, I have a BMS. 10 volts. Average cell voltage 2.6. Okay, right, because I set the shutdown voltage to 2.6 to give myself a buffer. I think that just saved my arse. Oh, you couldn't see anything but my knees. Oh, the smart shunt. Focus. Getting a low voltage or a low battery alarm, which totally makes sense. Yes, it's charging. Okay. Oh, why does it keep losing focus? Please, no, focus on me. Thank you. I know I'm not attractive, but I'm more attractive than a wall. It's charging, but it's not showing me. Oh, it's charging at 800 watts. I should have my lights back on soon. Actually, can I do my lights now? No, I can't because I turned off. Ah, I didn't even have you looking at me. I'm sorry. I am all over the place right now. Okay, so I've got 35 amps going into whichever BMS this is. So this is the quarter berth I'm loading now. It's getting 32 amps. Engine is getting 35 amps. And they're already at 11 volts, 11.3 volts, 2.8 volts. Okay, we're charging back up. So let's now, main breaker, that fan comes back on. Bilge pump is, I have to check the bilge pump. Let me do a, there was water in there, but there was not a lot, so that's fine. Cabin lights, how are we doing for a load? We're pulling a kilowatt from the grid, which is well within that wire's capability, but I'm still gonna go down and check. Do we have lights now? We have lights. Let's start waking this girl back up. With that, that's a very endearing angle. With that, I'm going to turn off the camera for a bit, grab myself a drink, start bringing things into the boat, and just chill for a little bit. And then I'm going to start to, I have a little bit of work I have to do that's non-boat related. So I'll bring you back probably this evening, maybe tomorrow morning. But things are charging again. I put away the normal camera, but I figured I'd come and check this and see how warm this is. It's not warm at all. It's absolutely cool, which is exactly what I expected. All right, that'll do for tonight, but not for a long run. Oh, what a pretty night. So I just got back to the boat. This is the next evening, so like 24 hours later. So I left the charger on last night. This morning, it was like 40% charged, and I got invited to go join on a race. And by the time I went to leave, I was at 92% charged, I think it was. I didn't want to leave the batteries charging when I wasn't on the boat. So I went into the BMS and I turned off charging on both of the batteries. Can you focus on that? So you can see charging is disconnected. So I got back to the boat about 15 minutes ago, and I turned on charging. It started charging, and then I heard a snap, the lights flashed, and I came over and the Quattro was showing, or the Multiplus was showing no input power. And the BMS was in high current disconnect. So what I'm going to have to do, like I had to do the first time when the batteries were out of balance, I'm going to go into the Multiplus and configure it. Let me see, what's the current voltage? So right now the battery's showing 13.4 volts and the delta is 0.010. What's the other battery at? Quarter berth, 13.6. So this might have been the one that disconnected. So I'm going to go into the Multiplus and configure it to charge only up to, what, it's 13 point, it's already showing 13.6. 13.4. I think I'll set the Multiplus to charge to 13.6 volts, and then I'm going to go back into the Phoenix, and like I did when I was first setting things up, I'm going to set it into power supply mode at 14.1 volt, and let it bring the batteries rest of the way up and top balance them again. Man. Having the Phoenix charger running as a power supply to get the batteries topped up and balanced, it was an absolutely accidental discovery of how important it is. This thing is definitely staying on the boat. Having this Mark III cable is godsend also. Let's go into the Multiplus. Current limit is still 12 amps, which, by the way, oh, wow, that really went out of focus. I went on to Southwire's voltage drop calculator, and at 12 amps, the voltage drop over the 50 amp, or over the 50 feet 12 gauge wire is 1.75%. Just in case anybody's worried about me running the extension cord to the 15 amp plug, the NEMA 515 plug, even though it's a 30 amp wire. I'm staying well below what the wire is capable of carrying. Absorption was set to 14.1. Let's bring that to 13.8. I think that's what I used last time. Float voltage, let's say 13.6. Okay, let's come back over to here, go to controls, turn on the charger, which should, oh, I'm showing no AC input right now or AC loads. Oh, right, it can't see that because I've plugged it into my phone. Whoops. That is the engine, so let's go to the quarter berth one now. Turn on its charger as well. Plug this back in. There we go. Now we should see it show up here. So it's at 13.6 and it's taking 15 amps. And it should go to 13.8 and stop charging. That one's at 13.6. What I want to do before I turn on the Phoenix is I want to make sure that this is going to hit 13.8 and the BMSs don't disconnect. So 13.7, 13.76. So the power from the grid is dropping because this battery is only taking 10 amps now. That is the quarter berth. Let's go to the engine bay battery. It's 13.74 and it's down to 17 amp. So the Multiplus should be acting as basically a constant voltage power supply at this point, capping out at 13.8. I think we're going to be okay. Quarter berth is 13.79 volts. It should hit 13.8 and stop. And you can see the grid power is down to 400 watts. So the Multiplus is drawing almost nothing at this point, which is good. That's exactly what I want because the Multiplus does not handle well the BMS is disconnecting. 13.8 volts. Let's go to the engine bay. 13.77. Once this one hits 13.8 and doesn't climb over, I'll know that the Multiplus is not going to disconnect. Or rather, the BMSs won't disconnect, meaning you won't have the voltage spike on the Multiplus, which was causing the Multiplus to shut down and then restart. 13.78, voltage dropping. Let's turn on the charger. We should see the AC load jump quite a bit. I think the Phoenix is still booting. Okay, I would have expected the Phoenix to start running by now. I can see the lights on the Phoenix. Is the Phoenix actually running in power supply mode? It's in bulk charge. All right, well, until I figure out what's wrong with the Phoenix, I guess I'll use the Multiplus. It's set to 13.8 volts now. I'll leave that overnight. The batteries are pretty full, to be fair. I can let this balance at 13.8 for a while, and then bump up the Multiplus to 13.9 and 14 and eventually 14.1. How many of you are watching that going, Maddie, you remember that you set up the Phoenix to keep the starter charged up? Why was there no current? Because the starter battery is off. There's nowhere for the Phoenix power to go. I'm so smart! Okay, well anyways, that's why that didn't work yesterday. I ended up turning the charger off, not that it was doing anything, because it's going to a battery that's unplugged. So it's a good thing that unplugged, the switch is in the off position, which is good because otherwise I would have been trying to charge a lead acid battery with a lithium iron phosphate profile. Sometimes I wonder. Not that I expect to be charging the starter battery anymore because I haven't made the final decision yet about whether I'm ripping the engine out more or less now. Like, will the boat go back in the water with this diesel engine? I haven't really talked much about this yet, but I've been unable to find a pod motor that I like. I'm thinking I might end up just going with an inboard electric motor for the first year or two, give a couple more years for pod motors to develop as a product, as a category of products, and when I find a good one, swap out at that point. So screen record. Change it from power supply back to charger, battery settings, change it to built-in presets, normal. Yep, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. We'll set the maximum charge rate to 15, which is what it was before. So now, if I do end up using the engine again and I have to use the charger for the starter battery, it'll be fine. I haven't replaced the GoPro yet. My lovely patrons have blessed me with the money to replace the GoPro, but I think I'm going to get a DJI because GoPro pissed me off so badly. I haven't made a decision yet, which is why I haven't replaced it. So I hope this isn't too shaky because I'm using my Canon. If I can't do bottom work in this year, ooh, harsh shadows. If I can't do bottom work in this marina, then I need to be able to move the boat from here to another marina when I'm ready to do the engine work. I'm pretty sure I can now because I was able to put the plastic down below, and I'll tape everything up and build a little work area around the boat so that dust won't get into the environment. We'll tow it out of the environment. So realistically, I think I can pull the diesel. Now, if I say to an inboard, I was originally assuming that I had the space for batteries to come to here because it's not here now, but the cover has the drawers in it. If I take those drawers out and make that a flat face, first of all, it'll be easier to take the cover off. Second of all, the prop shaft comes out of the tube at an upward angle. I think it's 15 degrees or something like that. I don't remember exactly. And it goes into the transmission. And the transmission does that 15-degree bend to go straight into the bell housing of the diesel. If I go to an inboard electric, so where my hand is here, this is where the space normally is for the cupboards or for the drawers in that engine bay hatch. If I take the electric motor and I mount it like this, as far forward as I can, and angled at the same degree angle, 15 degrees I think it is, of the prop shaft, I can use a belt or a chain drive to connect the output of the electric motor directly to this. Doing that means that I wouldn't have to do nearly as much bottom work. I would still have to keep my cooling, and all of these through holes need to be serviced, but in theory, I could only glass over just a few, like this one's not used, or, well, you can't see anything. So that through hole isn't needed anymore, it can be closed. That through hole isn't needed anymore, it can be closed, and there's a few others I want to do. But if I just close up through hulls, repair the bow damage, and then do a new bottom coat, that'll be good for at least a couple of years. It also means I'll have an excuse not to use copper coat initially, because I'll want to use copper coat when I build the pod mount. So it means I can get back in the water cheaper as well. Once the motor is mounted, I still have all of the area aft for a bunch of batteries. And once these are out, I may be able to make longer, thinner batteries. Anyways, I have a lot to figure out. The point is that I wanted to mention in this video, I may well be going to an inboard 15 kilowatt motor. The biggest reason for that is regen. None of the pod motors I found would regen third-party batteries, or the ones that did, won't answer my technical questions. And all pod options are extremely expensive right now. If I buy a bog standard PMAC 3-phase motor, liquid cooled, I could drop this in for a few $1,000s. I can use readily available motor controllers that will regen my batteries, and I can do all of it for not as much money and get in the water a lot faster. I have a lot of decisions to make, and I need to make them relatively soon so I can start work. Because I haven't made these decisions, I hope that's not too loud. I don't know what I'm going to do next. Between now and the next video, I have some big decisions to make. So, I'm the Digital Mermaid. Thank you very, very much for watching. I keep saying the same thing. I have some major decisions to make. Talk to you soon.